Hey everyone, welcome back to the Hive Doctor, your beekeeping mentor. Today I want to show you something before we go outside, and that's my little shelf here I just put together in my guest room. This is my bookshelf. I've got the top shelf with my new ribbons from the honey show, and I want to show you in detail exactly what I've got. After this, we're going to go outside, and I'm going to explain to you the criteria and the feedback I got back from the judges from the GBA conference honey show. So stick around. Welcome back everyone. So we're here on my top bookshelf. And what I already had here was this vase and this one with my arrowheads in there. I like archery. I've got a long bow off to the side here. I don't do that much, but I still like it. I've got a little watercolor of a bee I got when I got my real estate license. I was going to put that in my office, but I never went with maintaining an office. So now I just keep it in here. Here's two of my entries that won ribbon. My honey label that won a ribbon, and here they are, 4th, 5th, and 6th place. But the best thing of all, when I got home yesterday, was this letter from my wife. She had me close my eyes and she penned this on my shirt. #1 beekeeper in America. She's my biggest support, and it made it even better. She's amazing. And she got me this little trophy from the dollar store and wrote 2024 on it here and there with my name on the legs. So, and she even got me this cake candle, #1. So I like that I've got a little collection going on here, and that I came home to a very supportive wife, and it's important. All right, it's nice to be outside. So what I want to do is go over each of the 6 entries briefly, just to give you guys an idea of what they look for at a honey show. Tell you what I did right and the suggestions and the feedback that the judges gave me. That way I'm not like entering into the next honey show just blindly and in the dark making the same mistakes. I'm able to improve. So it's a nice example of critical or constructive criticism. So let's start with my infused honey. Remember that sassafras honey that I made? Well, I entered that, and one entry consists of 3 jars, very much like this, all of the same thing. They look for consistency in show, in presentation, and they have a card for each of the entries. I'll show you this up close. This is the one they made for infused honey, and you have to have a descriptive card with it. I did. Sassafras infused wildflower honey, non-spicy. They also have a spicy category. And then they check each jar, #1, 2, and 3, looking at these criteria. And I actually did really well in this category. Okay, so here's what they had to say about my infused honey. The glasses, the presentation was good. They were clean. I was perfectly level on my fill. I wasn't too much and I wasn't under. The lids were good. There was no foreign objects in the honey. There was a little bit of air bubbles and some foam, and I knew that, but I also learned from one of the judges in training how to avoid that for the next time and in future honey shows that I do. They said that the aroma was beautiful, the flavor was great, the potency was just right, and the balance was very nice. I had one thing against me that kept me from getting a ribbon on this, and they commented on the back exactly what that was. Here's what my judge, Tim, had to say. Other than a high moisture content, it would have been a very nice entry. Great flavor, love the sassafras. So that made me really happy. Someone else loved it. I got some good feedback on that as well. Now, I know exactly why I had a high moisture content. I used fresh sassafras roots. So they had moisture in them, and they added to the moisture of my wildflower, which was a good moisture content on its own. So in the future, not only in selling my sassafras infused honey, but also in making future entries, I'm going to dry the root first and then infuse it into my wildflower honey. So thank you, Tim. And by the way, only one judge judges each entry. It's not like a consensus-based thing. It's kind of subjective in my opinion, because it means like, what if that person doesn't like sassafras? Oh well, then you're just kind of out of luck. They do have a standardized system of criteria that they look for, and they're trained very strictly in that. I don't understand all of it, but there can't be fingerprints on jars. There's got to be a uniformity to your entry. It can't be overfilled, underfilled. Your glasses have to be clean, and even the lids that I didn't make, they can't have scratches or dents on them. So you've got to buy extra lids, go through each one, and be meticulous before you submit your entries. And I did. I cleaned my jars the night before and made sure that they were presentable. So for a first time, I'm happy. And also, I'm going to be going over the one that I was most excited to enter for last, and that's the honey jar label. So we'll go over that at the very end. So the next one was liquid comb honey under the novice category. In other words, I've never won a first place in this before. And so that's just one jar. And they look for a lot of criteria in this as well. The condition and cleanliness of the jar and the lid. Is there any foreign objects in the honey? So it's the same, but you only get one chance to get it right. They check out the odor, the aroma, and the moisture content. And I entered my wildflower into this. So the moisture content was perfect. It was not above 18.6. And here's what Tim had to say about this. Very nice entry. Just a small bit of foam on the surface. Well done. And I knew that. But in the novice category, I placed fourth, I think. Fourth or fifth. I don't remember. So I'm happy. First time in, got a ribbon. The next one, the category was extracted honey. Here's the one for extracted honey. And then they check the one at the top that fits under that. So mine was amber. I submitted 3 jars of my wildflower because it was a nice amber color, and they judged each jar. And the only check marks that they put on here were check marks against me. In other words, this says all 3 had sticky it was sticky on the outside of the jar. It was not clean. And that part confuses me because I cleaned them the night before. I had gloves on. I was wiping them down, even using like this air spray can to get the dust off. So I'm not sure where that sticky came from. All I can do is be extra double careful in the future. And then one had a damaged lid or a scratched lid. None of them are damaged, so it must have been a small scratch that he found. Chris is the judge on this one. And then all 3 had air bubbles on the very top and a little bit of foam. And again, one of the judges in training taught me how to avoid that in the future. So he said, honey is a nice flavor. Please make sure to clean outside a jar and extra filter the honey before placing in the jar. Thanks for entering. Thank you, Chris. Now there's another category I entered. It's for my sourwood honey. It's unique to this particular honey show because sourwood is only made in this area. They didn't even have like an official card for it. They used the one for infused honey and just wrote on the back. Keith judged this one. He didn't have much to say. He said, nice jar prep. Okay, great. My jars looked good. He said they were slightly underfilled, but consistent. So they're looking for that consistency among all 3 jars of sourwood. And he said it tastes like a mix of nectars. That one confused me because I watch the bloom very closely as a beekeeper, in tune with my environment and what the bees are working. There really wasn't a lot blooming with sourwood this year. It was a great year for sourwood. They were hitting it hard. And this is a good example of sourwood. So I'm not really sure what he's getting at. I thought the flavor was quite representative of a true sourwood, but that's what we got. I did not place in the sourwood category, and that's okay. All right, so honey jar label, best for last. There were 6 entries, so only 6 honey jar labels, and they have 6 ribbons. They have 6 placements, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. And I got 6th. I met all the criteria, label being mounted on an index card properly, all the required information, the subject matter, the aesthetic appeal, technical compliance, creativity, and originality. I got good on all of that. But the judge commented it was a very busy label. I guess they thought there was a lot going on it, but they liked the quote that I put on the label that says, if you don't know the beekeeper, then you don't know the jar of honey. I thought that I was going to get first for sure, possibly second. I did not anticipate 6th place, especially when you see what I was up against. This is where I learned that this judging can be very subjective. because the other labels, they were not in compliance of cottage food laws. My label has to be because I sell my honey. And I guess if you don't sell your honey and you give it away, you can kind of get away with that kind of stuff. But I come from a marketing angle and a selling angle. I want my label to help a customer feel good about what they're getting and see it as a higher quality product, because I believe it's all about the experience as well, and I want to enhance that as much as I can. And I'm not going to change that about me or my label. I might make the print a little bit less, like I might have less words on it, but it's going to be the same. It's going to be me. It's going to reflect what I want to get across. So I'll put up a picture of those 6 honey labels so you can check them out. I'll also put up a picture of the best in show. There was a woman who won best in show. In other words, out of everything, she got the award, first place of the entire show. She got $500 in cash, a blue ribbon, and I saw it, and I didn't think much of it at first because I thought it was a printout that she had put inside of a deep frame. Well, what it was a deep frame with plywood in it, and she had oil painted by hand the entire front side. A queen, her court, brood, honey, other bees, pollen. She even painted on the frame where propolis tends to build up, and it looked absolutely amazing. She even painted the wood grain. It was gorgeous and it was beautiful. When we found out that it was an oil painting, I can see why she deserved best in show. So I'm happy for her. I don't remember her name. All right, so if this show didn't have feedback, I would say you're shooting in the dark and learning the hard way. But I love that they structure it in such a way that everyone has a chance to enter, and that feedback they give you allows you to improve. So if you've never entered a honey show, never even been to a conference, or if you have, I encourage you to do so, or do so again. This is just one of the many ways that we beekeepers get to hone our craft, get better at what we do. And even aside from a conference and a honey show, I'm always doing that anyways, looking for something in my practice where I can better the conditions for my bees as I understand them. And I have a long way to go, but I've also come a long way, which means I know that you guys can and have done the same. If you've got any specific questions about a honey show or a conference, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you guys about that. I appreciate everyone that followed me along on my short videos and supported me during the weekend. That was really cool. I enjoyed that so much. Drop me one of these, tell your friends about the Hive Doctor, and I'll see you in the next video.